Welcome. I bid you welcome. John Clauser, Johnny Metal, the Metal Dad, coming to you from my music corner. But today, again, we're not talking music today. We're going to talk some more wrestling. And today, I got my buddy Joe B from Waste Your Time with Average Joe's. I'm going to get that right one of these days. But Joe, how you doing? It's been a little while since we've done something together.
Oh, it's great. It's great to see you. And
Yeah, man.
it's great to see you on TV, which
Yeah.
which germinated into this episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
So the basis of this was Joe is going to talk about his experience at Royal Rumble back down in there in Tampa, St. Pete. And then I'm going to talk about my little experience at SmackDown. That was on Groundhog's Day, February 2nd, the Rumble or the SmackDown after Rumble. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to be there at ringside. But Joe, what did you see at Rumble? Talk to me
right. So
about what.
here I well, I know you saw a better, more impactful show than I did. So it was crazy. I went to Rumble last year. My
Mhm.
son, my oldest son, who's the wrestling fan in the family, and he's the reason I still got into it. He lives in Austin, Texas. So last year it was in San
Okay.
Antonio, and I said, "All right, we're going." And last year uh, they had the great booking going on with the Bloodline and Zayn
Hmm.
and Owens. So and Cody was coming back from his pec injury. So we went. We had a blast. It was fun. It was great. It was packed to
Hmm.
and I'll get into this. The thing is that venue. Well, also we stayed at a hotel in downtown, so it was very. Although San Antonio is a huge city, that Riverwalk area is very concise, and the crowd control was really good, and we had a
Mm.
great time. So fast forward, we find out it's here. So I was originally going to wear this, but I think this is more apropos because it was at Tropicana Field, and I
Hmm.
a one of the few Tampa Bay Rays season ticket holders. So yeah, this venue is arguably the worst sports venue in the country. Some people say Oakland's worse. It's neck and neck, but it's a dump.
Hmm.
Uh, and I go there often. I go to a lot of Rays games, but they had the best record in the American League. Their playoff game against the Rangers, they only hit 17,000 people. So which was and they hardly ever open up that upper deck. They opened it up once for the Yankees, and they opened it up for this playoff game. And I think I was one of four people up there, but I had the first row.
Wow.
I was able to spread out and everything. This is
Wow.
all tying into the experience because people talk about how bad the crowd was at Royal Rumble. And I'm going
Hmm.
to tell you exactly what happened. And I knew this would happen because I knew they were going to sell out and like never before. I think they had a Final Four there in '99 that might have come close attendance wise, but they've never had this for baseball or any other. They've had nothing.
Hmm.
So I think they announced 48,000. I believe it's a little WWE inflated, but conservatively there had to be 45,000 people there. And I knew this was going to happen. So I get tickets to the Tampa Bay Rays, and we were in left field. I'll get into that before the crowd control. So I get to St. Pete. One of my friends flew in. My sons couldn't make it, so it was just my friend flew in from Chicago, and we were going to meet up. And I knew where to park and everything, but he didn't know how to navigate. It was a mess, the crowd control, because they are not accustomed to having that many people go into the stadium. So
Hmm.
there were there were half a mile long lines to get into some of these entrances, and people started going in. We're talking about it. They're not. They announced a 7:30 start time. First match wasn't until 8 or a little bit after 8. So people were getting in around to their seats 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock, waiting in line. I kind of knew what to do. So I'm like, I'm not waiting that line. I'm not waiting in that line. And I walked around. I got to gate 6 and I walked right in. But once you're in the stadium, you were sitting around for 5:30, 6 o'clock, like two and a half, 2 hours. So the crowd was exhausted by the time they actually started the show. And they didn't start it till, another half hour till after the announced time. So I knew they were going to have problems with parking. I knew they were going to have problems with the crowd because they're not used to it.
Hmm.
And that was why the crowd seemed so dead. They were just exhausted to get in there. Secondly, the venue sucks. So I got $100 seats in left field,
Hmm.
and our seats were absolutely horrific. They're terrible. So they had the ring was far away. So
Yeah.
like we had great seats at the Alamo Dome, which is a bigger venue,
Yeah.
but they had a big screen we can see the ring perfectly. It was centrally located in a football stadium, basically a smaller football stadium. This is so oddly shaped with the slanted roof and everything that we were in left field. The ring was like a mile away. They had half the infield filled in for floor seats, and then like the outfield was just for it was open, and they had porta potties for the people on the floor
Hmm.
where we couldn't see the ring. And then they had a circular, screen above the ring to watch the matches. But where we were seated, it was separated by the Royal Rumble sign.
Right.
So we can only see, like we would see half of Nia Jax or whatever. I'm thinking about the first. We couldn't see it. You'd see only like half of a body on this screen, and the big screen with all the action was behind us. We had to go like that and crank our necks to see what was
Oof.
actually going on in the ring.
Ouch.
So
Yeah.
yeah, the venue, our seats, made for a poor experience, and I think the reason the crowd was so dead is that it's just a terrible venue, and it was they're not accustomed to having that many people at that stadium. So
Hmm.
it just took forever for people to get in. And I don't know what the view was like I think it might have been better on the other side of the stadium. I will stand by that we had the worst seats in the house. And you know what? And
Wow.
it's interesting because we talked, I chatted with a few people, there were a few people that came in from out of town.
Hmm.
Some people came from overseas. I know that for a fact because my friend went to Hulk Hogan's place the night before in Clearwater and met him just by chance. And guy flew in from England, another guy flew in from Germany. But there were locals. This is what's interesting about the Rays. So I like the guy sat in front of me. He was from Polk County, which is where kind of between Orlando and Tampa.
Okay.
And he said they never go to the Rays games because it takes forever to get to that stadium. But because of this big event, people from all over the Tampa area, which is huge, when you include, you got the Plant City and all that area out there. You got Tampa, you got Pinellas County, and then down south where I live by Sarasota, Manatee County, everybody's coming in for this event. Where
Hmm.
you know for a baseball game, people don't want to make that trek. So you had a mixture of crowd like that. Um, but yeah, the main thing was crowd control. So getting onto the events, you had the Women's Royal Rumble, and it was kind of subdued. Like I said, we couldn't see a lot of the action. I watched it afterwards on Peacock. I thought there were a lot of botch spots. I don't know. You probably watched it, right?
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, me and the North and South guys reviewed it, and John, we all did.
yeah. I mean, when Jade Cargill came on, that was the biggest pop possibly of the evening because
Hmm.
the crowd was exhausted by the other matches. But
Yeah.
they went nuts when Jade came out, and they had I'm blanking on names now. Becky, when Becky came out, she got a
Becky.
good
Yeah.
pop. But
Yeah.
some of these other women come out and we're like, who's all right, I got to think who that is. Right, she's from
Yeah.
NXT, right? Bailey won. But like I said, I mean, watching it on TV, it was okay. A lot of bot spots. Watching it live, I couldn't tell you what the hell happened.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much you know what happened for the rest of the evening,
Right.
which was the opposite of when we saw the Alamo Dome the year before. We saw everything, and the screen was right in front of us, and it was a lot of experience. So the venue, the crowd control, really put a huge damper on seeing it live, and that's why I wore this shirt as opposed to Rumble because this place. Yeah, I
Not so
mean,
good.
yeah,
Well,
it's
I got to ask you. So since
yes,
you said you watched it back on Peacock,
yeah,
so one spot that the North and South boys and John and I we all talked about that I'm surprised nobody's talked about on like What Culture and some of the other places. When Jade Cargill went to go into uh Becky, and Becky moved out of the way and she went full speed ahead into the ring post. Did you notice that she was holding like the back of her head for a long time after that? She was,
yeah,
it's not like she hit that shoulder. It looked like she did more to the back of her head
yeah. I
with that
know
thing.
exactly.
I'm like, and nobody's talking about that.
I know, I know. No, yeah, you're right. And and Jade is still so green. I mean, she's got the look, but
Mm-hmm.
and it was
She
her
she
and Nia facing off, and you
ooh,
know,
and that was painful.
yeah. You know what else was painful? A four-way for the championship. You know, I I hate three ways and four ways. As Jim Cornette always says, lazy book. It's true. It's lazy. It
Yeah.
sucks. Like I don't think a champion should lose his title if some random dude gets pinned, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I told the guys is I was like, I'm so confident that Roman's going to win this match that if he drops the belt tonight, I'm going to SmackDown naked.
Yeah. Thank God he didn't lose. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
No, no, but
Exactly.
yeah. So I mean, I again, uh, people are into the LA Night chant, and that, but it was kind it's yeah, and people kind of I could sense that they got a little pumped when Randy had the pin, but when you saw that Solo interfered once again, it was the same old stuff, and
Yeah.
people kind of had figured that AJ would take the pin. And I don't know, it was kind of a nothing match, right?
Yeah.
Next match again. So I'm going now. I'm going off by watching it on Peacock because live I couldn't tell you what the hell was going on. I
Sure.
and I was yeah. And you know what else? You know, Diet Coke for $7.50 a bottle of Diet Coke. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I know. Yeah, people were yeah, yeah. So anyway,
I'm afraid to ask how much the beer was.
yeah, I don't even know. It was a lot. So I don't drink, but
Right.
yeah, I'm sure it was a lot more. I mean, I had they had a Philly cheesesteak about this big. We were starving by the time we got in, and it was what 20 some bucks for a Philly cheesesteak and a pop, right? So yeah.
Sure.
I mean the Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens match was great.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in watching on TV was great. That interference sucked. I didn't mind the DQ. I know some people are like totally anti DQ, but this was kind of like a NWA DQ
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, one of my guys was like, "This is how you keep the story going. You just gotta," he was trying to do his best Dusty Rhodes impersonation, and it
yeah,
was
yeah,
so it
yeah.
made I could see where they're going with it. So,
But I keep on comparing the last year, and nothing compared to that spot with Ricochet and Logan Paul.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah, and so I was expecting more of that. And I'm still pissed they broke up Owens and Zayn. I think they should have had a longer run, right? So then we get to the men's rumble, and to be honest with you, we booked. We wanted to get out of there because, first of all, I knew where to park and get out of there, but and then I told my friend, I'm like, you're never gonna get back because he was staying in Clearwater.
mm.
So we just got the hell out of there, and we couldn't see anything. So
Yeah, you couldn't see nothing
I watched
anyway.
that entirely on Peacock. I
Yeah,
thought it was good. I did notice that CM Punk was holding his arm, and you're wondering, then you find out, yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
was gonna say that DDT spot didn't look too smooth.
no,
Something went weird there, and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So again, live too. So we're like kind of off the foul poles, like here, and we're here, and the ring is way there, and then the entrance ramp is like we couldn't even see the entrance ramp. So we were like, where are the wrestlers coming from? We finally figured out, but yeah, so I didn't even, this was during the other, like the women's rumble. We're like, where are they coming in from? And we finally realized there was a stage to the left we could barely see. But yeah, I mean, I
Mm.
thought the men's was, I don't know, what'd you think? I
I
thought,
mean, it was predictable. I mean, it was
yeah,
we all knew who it was either going to be Cody
or
or
CM
Punk.
Punk. Yeah,
Maybe Drew
right,
would have been an outlier, but yeah, for the most part, I mean, it was you knew it was going to happen. It was nice with the Usos starting it off. I thought that was a nice touch,
right.
but there was no legends, no surprises, nothing out of the ordinary. It was
Well, yeah,
just
people,
for both of them,
everyone was
the
just,
women's and the men's was.
everyone was expecting what you saw.
Yep.
That's
I
what
mean,
was rumbling
the
around the
whip,
crowd.
at least with the women's, you got Jordan Grace, which was a
Right.
nice, tip to TNA. Yeah,
Yeah.
great to see them doing business with them. But I mean, nothing, no major surprises with the guys, unless you want to count Andrade. But I mean,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, you want now if it was Okada or,
Yeah.
or MJF or something like that. Now that would have been saying something. I wasn't expecting either of them because Okada's wasn't supposed to wind up in New Japan until the 31st, and from what I hear, MJF is so badly riddled with injuries, he probably is going to be out for a long time anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, match of the night for I think for me it was definitely the Owens and Logan match,
Yeah.
by
Logan
far.
Paul's he's fantastic.
Oh yeah, that was the
Yeah.
that was probably the match of the night when I was at SummerSlam in Nashville.
But
With it was him and the Miz.
yeah,
That was a great match. I really
he's
enjoyed
I
that.
mean the brothers are obviously athletic,
Mm-hmm.
and but he obviously trains. He knows how to sell. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just high spots with him. He knows the whole thing how to do
All
it.
the psychology and everything.
Yeah.
And I think he works better as a heel.
Yeah.
He definitely he's okay as a face, but he definitely works better as a heel.
Yeah, they're natural heels. Yeah, they're just
Absolutely.
yeah, they're smart asses and yeah,
Oh yeah.
they make a lot of money. But
Yeah.
here we go. Just
More money. Yeah, yeah, one of
yeah.
these days I'm going to try one of those things, but
They're good. I like them a lot. Out of all the energy drinks, I really enjoy it. So it's got
hmm,
coconut water in it. So you
right.
won't cramp up as much, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was basically it. We I think the theme of the night was the crowd was exhausted because of they didn't, crowd control
Hmm.
and the crappy venue.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a
Honestly, yeah.
shame.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well,
And I'm not
yeah.
saying the Alamo Dome. I mean, the Alamo Dome is old too, but at least it's built like a football stadium, and
Hmm.
it's they got the people in there in and out. We stayed to the very end for that, and
Hmm.
it was packed to the rafters, but they got people in and out really well there. And here, I knew it would happen because, like I said, I go to the baseball games. They're not used to this, and
Right.
that's why the crowd was so dead. It
Yeah.
was just they were just exhausted by the time they got to their seats.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think back to the SummerSlam, when we went up there, me and my wrestling buddy, who actually is her hometown is San Antonio. So she would have probably loved to have been at the Rumble, but for that. But yeah, I remember going to, I mean, we were within walking distance. We just stayed at a hotel near the stadium
Oh,
at
downtown
SummerSlam
Nashville?
in downtown
Yeah,
Nashville.
great.
So it was
Yeah.
perfect. We went down the bridge
Yeah.
and we just got in that sea of people. We were in downtown. We were like, well, where do you want to go eat? Well, I was like, well, if you go eat anywhere, you're going to be probably sitting there for about an hour to wait. So we thought, well, we found a food truck, grabbed a bite to eat on the way back to the hotel, and we just kicked back then. But after the event, but we got out of there in good time, and like I
Yeah.
said, it was within walking distance, so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, so she was responsible for getting the SmackDown tickets. So
Awesome.
now again, so here's the
Oh,
thing. So now,
everyone in the crowd was expecting The Rock to show up.
yes, because the rumors started flying sometime in the afternoon. Sometime like mid
But
afternoon.
for our show, people were
Oh,
talking. Yeah.
okay,
To
yeah,
be here.
and he never did. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
That
never
was the
did. And
big name
then
people were wondering about. Yeah.
right. So then for us, we didn't we started seeing the rumors. I think I started seeing them like mid afternoon on Friday. So I didn't really. I'm like, oh really? No, he's not going to come to Birmingham. Why would he come to Birmingham? Oh, well, it is the Rumble after it is the SmackDown after Rumble. Oh, well, and there is the USFL team. That now that he's a part of that with the XFL merger and all that stuff. Well, Okay, well, let's see what happens. Let's just see how it plays out, right? So our arenas, yeah, it's probably maybe. I think I heard Sami Zayn say like 10,000. I don't know what the actual number was, but we've been to a number of events. If you look behind me, you see my Wasp flag up there. Well, if I took all that down, there's three of there's three more of these things.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
and this was one from this past time. So
Okay.
when she gets these tickets, she goes all out. our
Yeah.
our spouse, neither of our spouses like wrestling, so we both like wrestling. So we just have like this brother sister kind of relationship. So it's that's kind
Awesome.
of how she looks at it. So
Yeah.
so we go and we just have a good time. And she goes and she'll get there, and she's in a better position. She gets the ringside seat, and we're right there. I mean, yeah, you saw me on TV quite a bit, but yeah, we get to take the chair home. So this is like my fourth one. So now if I ever have guests over, I can pull out the real good chairs out for company. So
Yeah.
anyway, but I'll get into some of the other goodies later. But um, it was a where we easy to park. There's parking places all around. You know, with the right place to get to. That way, when you get out, you can get right back like I go on an interstate and get on home. So the arena was pretty good. It was they're
Is this a
always
newer arena? Or,
it's no, it's been around for I don't know how long it's been around, but we've seen, gosh, I can't remember. I've lost count how many times we've actually been to shows there now.
what
Probably about
about
seven or eight, but I mean they have concerts there, but they
what
built.
about do they have any type of hockey or basketball there? Or,
No, not really.
okay.
They might have like UAB may have some stuff, but I'm not sure where they have all their games.
Okay.
I don't follow that stuff all that close, but
Yeah.
they have the football stadium, obviously, but that's a totally different stadium. But yeah, they have concerts there now and then. Like I think they just had Tool there about a couple weeks ago and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. We're
So
doing a South Front. Yeah.
but yeah, they usually wind up having a pretty. I mean, they keep obviously WWE keeps coming back here because they either run a SmackDown or they did Raw once, which so they seem to always make it on the tour. So that's always a kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. One of the things that popped up on my memory feed, like from like the last couple days, was a time when I saw Cody, but it was up in Huntsville, Alabama, which is about 2 hours away,
Yeah.
and that was the AEW time, and that was like the last thing I saw before the pandemic hit, and that show is pretty interesting because that was when Cody got the 10 whips across his back from
Yes.
MJF.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We witnessed that front and center. That was like,
All
ooh,
right.
that was brutal. But anyway, um, so again, what you see on the TV, um, to give you an idea, so you could see the show on your big screens. Okay, obviously, yes, we could see it from ringside because we're right there. But sometimes if you're trying to like just maybe hear better or just see their faces, because unfortunately, where we're sitting they're having to look at the hard camera. So we're looking at everybody's rear end the entire night, especially when they're cutting promos. So
Okay.
that's kind of, male and female, which sometimes that's not a bad thing either. But anyway, so that's kind of the only bad thing about where we're sitting is that you don't see their faces all that much. So that's a little that can be bad. But sometimes they do the side things. So it's like how the Rock and Roman ended it, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Um, so obviously, the first segment you see, of course, you see the new SmackDown team coming out, Wade and Corey Graves, which I think that should be a good team.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be even though they're both known to be more heel commentators. So I'm curious to see if one of them is going to be more even balanced. I don't have cable anymore, so I only seen like bits and pieces on YouTube, so I don't know how the whole show flowed for the commentary. But of course, Logan comes out and he cuts a promo, and of course everybody's booing him. So I don't know how loud that sounded on TV, but that sounded, but You know, KO comes out, it's like, it doesn't take brass knucks to want to, beat your dumb ass, as
How
he likes to say.
how big is Logan?
Probably no bigger than you and me, really. I mean, he's muscular, but I wouldn't say
Right,
he's certainly not, he's no Tony Atlas or anything like that.
right, yeah, yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, he was mostly in street clothes, so you didn't really see him in anything more than that.
right,
Yeah, I didn't think he was any, he's not like no Mr. USA or anything like that. But
yeah. Well, a lot of wrestlers are more athletic looking, but yeah, I mean, like Chris Jericho used to be considered small, and
yeah,
now he's one of the bigger dudes. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think he's
When
been drinking a
Randy
little too.
Orton,
He's been
Randy
drinking a little too much
Orton,
of the bubbly, but
yeah, I
well,
know.
yeah, Randy Orton's been looking kind of jacked lately especially
He's
after coming from
massive.
that
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
that
yeah,
back injury. But
yeah,
we were hoping to see him. We were hoping to see LA Knight. We were hoping to see, but we didn't see any of those guys from the Fatal Four Way,
yeah,
except for Roman later on. So we obviously knew Roman was going to be there. So yeah, you get the first segment, Logan, and here comes Austin Theory with Grayson Waller. Grayson's jaw jacking with the crowd a little bit, which is always kind of fun. You don't get to hear those kind of things on TV. So it's like, somebody said something about his shirt. It's like, yeah, your mom gave that to me, by the way. And I'm surprised that she could fit into this or something like that. But or she was too big for it. So he was jaw jacking with the crowd. So that's always kind of fun. But if you're kind of wanting to see what's really going on, maybe that you're not seeing, what you're seeing on TV, you literally have to look straight up at where the big screens were for like
yeah,
the far background. So that was a little inconvenient for us, but we could still see what was going on in the ring. There were times that I've been to shows there where that is a saving grace for where we sit, because we don't get to see things that we didn't need to see. Like, because that was when Big E got his neck thing.
yeah.
That happened with us.
Uh,
I'm looking over and I looked over to my left and I'm like, oh, and I just happened to see Big E's legs flailing. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. And
yeah,
then sure enough, obviously it wasn't. But
yeah,
that was, so thank goodness I wasn't looking up at the screen at that, because I would have seen that thing and I probably would have terrified me for life. But um, so again, you see the somebody got a free bottle of that drink, because I think KO snatched it out of Logan's hand as he just threw it across the arena. But
yeah.
not a bad match, good match. Austin's a local kid, really. He's from Atlanta.
I
He
think I like him.
you
I
know
mean,
he he was
he's great in the ring. I mean,
he was part of a promotion over in Atlanta called Southern Honor Wrestling.
okay,
And so he got his start kind of there, and then he got noticed by the NXT people, and of course there now he's then he got so he was good. He's good, but he was good then. He had a lot of promise then. So hats off to, and I think pairing him with Grayson Waller, I think it's been a pretty cool thing.
yeah,
The whole brass knucks, of course, that comes into play. So you see all that chicanery going down. So that was kind of fun. I thought that was a pretty fun match. Um, then you get and then here's where you get to do the either looking off to the side to the big screen, or you look up. So either way, one of the two ways, you got to crick your neck in order to make it work if you're going to watch some of the skits that they do. So what you have the Naomi and Tiffany Stratton welcoming into SmackDown.
right,
And then you have the thing with her and Mia Yim, with Tiffany and Mia Yim.
yeah,
Um, and then so you have that going on. You get another let's see. Oh yeah, the Logan Paul and Bianca Belair and Nick Aldis thing. Again, you just have to see everything on the screens, and sometimes you can hear everything, sometimes you can't. That was the only problem with those skits. Sometimes in the arena you can't hear it as well. I don't
okay,
know why. That's always been a little puzzling to me. Sometimes you always have to what you wind up having to watch it back because that's the only time you can actually hear it.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a downfall. Um, you get a Legado del Fantasma vignette, which again couldn't really hear it too well, couldn't really see it all that well, but it sets up for the Fatal Four Way tag team match, which was entertaining to say the least. Um, you got Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Pretty cool seeing those guys. Glad to see Pete Dunne as Pete Dunne again.
Yeah.
That whole Butch thing was just they
I
were
agree.
they were
Yes.
wasting them.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty deadly. They were the first team out, so they had the big disco ball and they're doing all their thing, and I'm just like, I'm like, wow, that's they did they steal these guys off a Lord of the Rings movie somewhere? Because that's kind of like what they look like. They look like they're like relatives of Legolas and and the elves, from the Lord of the Rings movies or something like that. But
Right.
anyway, yeah, then you got the Legado del Fantasma team, you got the LWO with Zelina Vega. Uh, Very nice seeing Selena Vega and of course Elektra Lopez. I thought it was a fun match to see. There was just a lot, it was chaotic, but
Yeah.
I thought good match to see. Good to see Tyler and Pete come out with the victory of that. Let's see what was up next here. Um, oh, the Bailey decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, I'm not gonna hide nothing here. I'm not a big Bailey. I've never been a big Bailey fan.
See,
I've never been a big four horsewomen fan, believe it or not. Um,
interesting.
and
I liked her gimmick at first in NXT when she was, and
mhm,
I think I don't think she ever recovered. They totally took a crap on her in San Jose that one time.
yeah, I think they
Yeah,
did too.
and it kind of, but I can't knock her because she keeps. I don't know. I,
I mean, I know she's a very selfless wrestler, and she does, and I know she gives back a lot. But I don't know. I just have never been much of any of the four horsewomen fans. So,
You know what's funny? Last year's Rumble, we
mhm.
were you always have those people in the crowd. And I don't know about you, but I feel like WWE crowds are just great. Like
Yeah.
they're into the product, but they're not obnoxious and every
Well,
well, the events I went to, they're
yeah.
pretty. I mean, it was pretty, good crowds. San Antonio though, so there's a guy 2 rows in back of me. When Bailey came out, he just went ape shit. He's like, "Get that B out of." And people had to tell him to settle down just for Bailey. It was crazy, yeah. And that was when she was just starting her
Oh,
heel run and everything. But
oh, trust me, I felt bad for my wrestling buddy because I thought sitting next to the guy that I was sitting with, he was a pretty big guy. So I thought, well, I'm going to spare her from having to be sandwiched in between that.
yeah,
Well, the guy sitting next to her, by the time he sat down, he was already three sheets to the wind. So
wow, yeah,
and he was just getting further in the wind as the night kept going. So
yeah,
and he was loud and he was obnoxious. And then we had a couple people behind me who were like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so the Bailey thing, to me, this just played out like Bailey's like she was like the bully, she was like the bully recipient here, and she, who, the respected person constantly getting bullied, and she just was like talking down to the three of them like they're little kids,
yeah,
and that's really kind of how I took that whole skit.
yeah,
It was just like that to me. That's just how it sounded, and I'm just like, why? Why does that need to be like that? Okay, I
yeah,
get it. You're you're about to get turned on. Okay, about time. It's probably should have happened a long time ago. But um honestly, I would much rather watch the three Oriental women wrestle than I would any of the others.
Oh,
Most of
Io
them.
Sky is one of the greatest
Io
wrestlers.
Sky's great.
Yeah.
I love Kairi Sane and I love Asuka.
Yeah. Kyrie Sane's awesome too. Yeah.
You know, and I would love to see them bring
Yeah. Well, Asuka too. What am I talking about?
And Asuka and I
Yeah.
would like to see them bring Xia Lin into it.
Yeah.
I would love to see all four of them just do
I used
something
to watch. Do you
because
ever watch Lucha Underground?
I've watched a little bit. I haven't watched all
It
of it.
was.
Some of that stuff was good.
I stopped watching it, but I think one of the last seasons, someone told me Io Sky was on there. Like they they sent a bunch of like assassins to go after Penta. It's on YouTube,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she is vicious, like missile drop kicks and all this stuff. And yeah,
Well, I mean, who's there was what was the what's the one lady that was on there that she got in trouble for like really just going shoot at a AAA match.
oh yeah, Lady Star. Yeah, what was her Star? Or
um,
she had a mask on.
yeah, she had a mask on. I can't think of her
Yeah,
name now,
Star.
but
I thought it was Star something.
so
Oh yeah.
that's the one that I always I think of because I know she was like an
Well,
integral.
Ricochet was the champ.
Yeah,
He
Ricochet was a
was
champ for a while.
yeah, Prince Puma. But back
Yeah,
to your SmackDown show.
yeah. Back to SmackDown. Sorry, I'm just that's sorry for that
Yeah.
Lucha Underground.
Sexy Star.
Yes, yes. There you
Yeah,
go. That's who it was.
yeah,
So yeah, I think by the time the Kabuki Warriors finally attacked Bailey, you kind of just I think that was like a big relief. He's like, okay, finally, finally it's happened, But there was that thing with her and Io Sky where it's like there was hesitancy there, but yeah, kudos to Bailey. She was obviously thinking ahead. She knew that pipe was there, so she had an equalizer. But yeah, so I'm very. But see, here's the thing: where's Tegan Knox going to fit into all this?
yeah. I know.
Because she's like the other part of Damage Control, but she's been the thing with Tegan Knox is she's almost like CM Punk. She just keeps getting injured all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'll be very curious to see where she falls into all of this.
yeah.
Or no, not Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai.
Right.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
either way, either one, they both seem to get injured a lot.
yeah.
Anyway, so finally we get because I don't think anybody wanted to see Bailey versus Rhea Ripley.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan.
Yeah.
Who's she gonna wrestle though? Is it gonna be Becky or?
Yeah, it's look at I think that's what they're trying to paint.
I mean, her
So
best matches are with Charlotte because they beat the living crap out of each other. But yeah,
yeah, well, we know Charlotte's not going to be back for another
oh,
6 months or something like that, so
right,
she's going to be out for a while.
yeah.
Um, okay, so the next segment, match that never even happened. You got Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits taking on the Final Testament with Scarlett and Paul Ellering. So it was pretty cool to see Paul Ellering again.
It's
I'm
awesome. Yeah.
no doubt about it. I love the Road Warriors, so I always will love Paul Ellering and stuff like that.
I can't remember the last time I went to WWE Raw or SmackDown. It's been a while. But what's it like during commercial breaks and that now?
Most of the time the lights go down and they just kind of putz around. Sometimes they do some stuff like on the screen. It's like, show you off your best DX move or sign of the night, or they do some fun things
Yeah,
like that, but that's about it. Most of
yeah,
the time it's just the wrestlers just kind of hanging out, or if they cut away during a match, you really never knew it. I think they just kept the action flowing pretty good. So I never knew, especially during the matches, I never knew when they cut to a break. So
yeah.
but yeah, so you get this six man that really never started. They just all ganged up on each other and started beating the crap out of each other. And yeah, and then yeah, that just started whatever. So who knows where they'll go from there. So
Right.
you get another backstage thing with Braun Breaker. I was kind of hoping to see him wrestle
Man,
that
I'm
night.
hoping I don't know what they're gonna do with him, but the rumor is he took Brock's spot in the Rumble,
Yeah,
and he was awesome in the Rumble.
yeah.
And I'm hoping they push him like they push Brock because he's a
Hmm.
beast. Now
Yeah.
they're talking about maybe pigeonholing him into a tag team with Baron Corbin, which would suck, I think.
Well, they won the Dusty Cup,
Yeah, I know, but I just
but
want to see Braun
yeah, well, I
Breaker.
mean, yeah, I'm not a Baron Corbin fan either. As
No, I mean yeah, Baron Corbin. I, the dude played pro football, boxed, like he's a legit badass. But I don't know. Anyway,
yeah,
I just want to see Braun Breaker kick ass
yeah,
alone.
oh
You know?
yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Do his dad proud, you know.
yeah.
Do his dad proud. All right, next up, you got Tiffany Stratton versus Mia Yim. I thought this was a pretty good match.
Okay.
Pretty good. I thought it was a nice debut for Tiffany. You know, usually those NXT call-ups don't usually amount to a hill of beans sometimes. This one finally did.
Yeah.
And Mia Yim, you know, or Mia was it Yeech what is her actual name that she does? Uh, uh anyway, I just know her as Mia Yim, and that's how I'm gonna
Yeah,
Mish
you're right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, she's very competitive. She's good wrestler, you know, and I thought she was a good one to put in the ring. I'm glad it was finally her and not Natalia. Like she's Natalia's always getting put in the ring with somebody and they wind up
Well, the
beating her or
reason
whatever.
is because
Well, because she's been around for forever
she,
too.
like her and Asuka are like trainers, basically. They can carry anybody,
Oh
teach
yeah.
moves. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, good match. You know, you got the Alabama Slam too, which was, you know, I thought that was always a good thing. You got the prettiest moonsault with the win. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. You know, good, well done, put together match. So okay, then let's see. Yep. Then we get to the final segment with Roman and Cody, and yeah, love that. That yeah, I'm not much of a Roman Mike fan, but he threw out some good zingers in this one.
Yes.
You know, when he said talking about Seth Rollins, just yep, no pop, just as I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you know, and then the whole line about it is like, well, you know, the last 2 years you've been wearing your woman's clothes and you know and stuff like that. So he was getting a lot of good zingers, and he was basically burying that belt. So I totally get that. Um, Place goes nuts for Cody. You know, then Cody starts doing his, you know, talking his thing, and but then when he said, "But not at WrestleMania," and then everybody was like, "What?" And then it's like, oh crap, wait, no. And then when he starts saying, but you remember when I said I had some special counsel? And then as soon as I heard him say that, like, I got my phone ready. And I just, as soon as I heard that, if you smell, well, that's when I hit the record and I just wanted to record the whole entire segment because I just wanted to be able to watch this whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a pop.
Yeah.
I don't think I have ever heard a pop that loud at a wrestling show before. My ears were so sensitive the next day. I couldn't even I the only thing I could watch on television was like maybe I think I watched like Peter Kerr's Rock Daydream Nation uh Bob Daisley interview because I couldn't watch much of anything else because my ears were so sensitive that it was like it was hurting my ears. So I couldn't
Yeah.
listen to music. So I was like, my that's
Yeah.
just how sensitive because I wasn't expecting that loud pop.
Right.
But so yeah, Rock comes out, they stare down for a while, and that's what you see go off the air. Well, of course, they stare down at each other for a while, and Roman and everybody leaves. And then of course Rock, you know, of course he's always doing this because his you know the goosebumps keeps coming up, and you know he gets a mic. He says, you know, if you want something iconic, if you want to have something magical, you gotta come to the Magic City, which of course that's the Birmingham nickname, the Magic City. You know, he just says, you know, it's deep in history. The Rock loves you. You know, we love you, and you know, does the you know, if you smell what the Rock is cooking, and that was that. You know, it was a very short promo, wasn't long, wasn't drawn out or nothing, but good God Almighty, that pop was just ridiculous.
But
Um,
boy, a couple days later,
oh, I don't
yeah,
even know if it was a couple days later. I think it was like almost like the next day.
yeah. But now
Oh
at
my
Raw,
gosh.
man,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at Raw, but good Lord, all
Doing the Rocky
weekend.
sucks. And Michael Cole goes, this what is this, 1996? So how do you think this is all going to play out? By the way, did you see, you know who George Kittle on the 49ers?
I've heard
Tight
the
end.
name. Yeah.
So, yeah, so he's a tight end of the 49ers. He went to University of Iowa, so I doubly think the guy's great.
Okay.
Huge pro wrestling fan, like
Okay.
massive.
Right.
Penta is his favorite wrestler. When they played in Mexico City, he ran up to Penta, and Penta gave him a mask after he scored a touchdown.
Oh
So,
wow.
first question they ask him at the press conference for the Super Bowl is, "What do you think of Cody Rhodes and Rock?" And he went right into it. He's like, I support the We Want Cody movement and all this. Yeah, so it's mainstream. So what do you
Oh
think?
gosh. So okay, so obviously my thing about The Rock was obviously I'd never got to see The Rock in person.
All right, so sorry, I didn't want, but was The Rock stopgap because CM Punk got hurt? Did they?
I here's my thing. I kind of think between Punk's injury,
Yeah,
um, I mean, I mean, who else? There's somebody else that was injured. Um, I mean, Rollins got that knee thing, so he's going to be
yeah,
out.
yeah.
But I mean, there's somebody else who was injured that that they're going to be. Well, and then
Well,
of course
Kevin
you had
Owens, I know, has a broken foot, but yeah,
right,
yeah,
and then you got Lesnar who's
right,
implicated in
exactly.
all the Vince stuff, which
Yeah,
I don't want to get into any of that.
yeah.
Um, so it's like, yeah, I kind of get it, but they've been wanting to do Roman and The Rock for how long now?
Yeah.
So they're finally pulling the plug on that and or putting the plug in for this and they're going to finally do it. So I still think there's a lot of story that hasn't been played out yet. And I'm just going to wait and see. I was like, okay, I'm going to trust the process and just say, okay, what it's probably going to get convoluted. It's probably going to get really weird and strange. It's probably not going to be as drawn in as the bloodline story got for a while because that bloodline story was pretty smoking for a good while,
Yes.
especially with Sammy.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they're going to play all that out, but somehow they're going to do something there. So I'll be curious to see how things play out. But so I'm going to trust the process. That's how I'm going to put it.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
that that's my wimpy answer. I'm gonna
Yeah.
trust the
I wonder
process.
what they're gonna do for Elimination Chamber.
I am too. I'll be
So,
very
like, I mean, the word was that the government of Australia, like, kind of said we want The Rock if we're gonna pay all this money. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna be part of that.
I
But
had heard
yeah,
he's lined up to be there for it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Well, we shall certainly see. And somebody brought up an interesting point. Rock helped Roman win that Rumble one time, and that was in Philly.
Yes, yeah.
And WrestleMania is
Yeah.
in Philly.
Philly crowds are brutal. Oh my God.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But um, one thing before I want to show some of the other little things that we get when you get these ringside package deals. So you get a few little goodies to take home with you. So I think everybody you usually get um a signed picture of somebody, and I think everybody at this one got the same one. It's Bailey,
Okay.
so you get a signed Bailey thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the first times I got one, I got an Iconics.
Really. Wow.
Yeah, not not too thrilled about
My
that.
friend, they had only a limited amount of Cody and CM Punks, and he found both of them.
Hmm.
And yeah, and he actually got it for my son, so I got to send it out to him. But yeah,
Um, you get this little VIP experience belt. It's like a
cool.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
So I've gotten a couple of those now in my collection, and then you got this little. I think it's a magnet. There's a VIP
right.
universe, so it's like a little magnet there, and this, I didn't take it out of the bubble wrap. It's like a coin, VIP universe
They
coin
have
kind of
any
thing.
type of, did you meet any superstars or? Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No, the closest thing I got was I think I fist bumped Corey and Wade as they came in.
yeah,
I think I suppose it looked like it looks like The Rock is staring down my t-shirt. Because I was wearing there's a we our good friend Mike Ladano from a channel called Grab a Stack of Rock. So I wore his t-shirt to the show. Just because I just wanted to plug his show. I was going to do that like 2-3 weeks ago.
yeah,
And so long before I knew The Rock was going to be there. So it's like you're watching the video and like the Rock you could see is staring my way, or at least in my direction. So
yeah,
it makes it looks like grab a stack of what?
yeah,
So we all got a good kick out of that. But Mike loved the fact I wore his shirt on television. So
yeah.
um now apparently after the show, I didn't see these before the show, but after the show, they came out with a t-shirt that said, finally, The Rock has come back to Birmingham. So now you can get
Do
those on
that.
so you could get that on WWE shop as a pre-order, but apparently they had some after the show, I'm
So they
guessing.
did, yeah, because I went to walk around after the women's rumble, and they already had Bailey champion t-shirts in the main store at Tropicana Field.
Right.
Yeah,
Um, let's see. Little winter tour shirt. So we
cool.
have, which just says I was there on the
Yeah,
back. And of course I'm wearing a
CM Punk, right?
which I'm thinking about going to see Living Color. They're actually going to be playing at a little venue in
Are they
Birmingham.
headlining or they're playing with Extreme?
No, they're headlining. They're with
Uh,
another band. They're playing with a smaller, some other band, but it's at
Yeah,
a small venue. So I'm almost considering going, and might just wear this. So, um, and then I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to let me talk to you. So but
nice,
so anywho,
excellent.
but so yeah, so that was my swag from the night. But and of course the chair. All in all, a fun night. Um, Always enjoyable because again with my wrestling buddy, we just love going to these things. It's great when you have that friend or companion that um loves something as much as you do and has
Yeah,
as much of the passion. Because if you're taking somebody just to take because you don't want to be alone, well, and that person's not into it as much, well, it's not so much fun,
exactly. Yeah,
and so there you go. But makes for a fun time. So there you
yeah.
go. So Joe, how did you see some of that playing off on TV when you were watching the SmackDown? I didn't get your kind of thoughts on that.
Well, somebody emailed me and said you were on TV, so
Thanks, John.
that's when I turned on. No, it's always a great production, you know. I still I Kevin Dunn retired, but they still have that. God bless it. Can they just keep the camera still?
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, it was fun. And The Rock showing up in Birmingham was great, and I was like, John seeing The Rock, that's awesome. And I'm like, you saw a lot better show than I saw. you know,
Yeah,
Trying to find my CM Punk picture for you. So if it
yeah.
looks like I'm being rude, I'm just trying to find. I don't
No,
know.
you're good. You're
Trying to
good.
remember when I ran into him, but I'll
Yeah,
email it to you some other time.
yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was yeah, great show. It was great that
yeah,
you were on TV. Great you saw The Rock, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with WrestleMania. You
yeah.
mentioned NXT. There's a new wrestler. He was on a tag team a couple weeks ago. His name's Tank Ledger.
Okay.
His name is Joe Spivak. He went to grammar school with my middle son. He's from
Oh,
Downers Grove, Illinois.
okay.
He played football at Northwestern.
Okay.
Now he's in that system, and his
All
name is
right.
what
Huh.
Tank Ledger. Yeah,
Well,
he's a big kid. He was always a big kid. Yeah, but
so since we're speaking of relatives here, so
yeah,
Thea Hale in the
yeah,
NXT,
yeah.
She is, I have a cousin who's her husband. It's Thea is, or my cousin's husband is Thea's uncle, I think, or
Okay.
there's some kind of relation there. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because I remember my cousin, I have a cousin who was telling me about this. Oh, that's really cool. Because, Thea's pretty young and, Spitfire and everything. But yeah, so that's pretty cool.
So
That's
when's
pretty
the
cool.
chamber coming up?
February 24th, I believe.
Okay. So that's pretty soon. That'll
Yeah,
be
it's coming up a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mania. So it will be interesting to see how they finagle all this with Cody if they're gonna, because obviously it's becoming like a Daniel Bryan thing.
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it
So
is.
yeah, we'll
Yes, it
see what
is.
happens.
And I think the Rock was behind getting some of that stuff to happen on Monday night. I think there was a lot of plugs to make sure that kind of stuff would happen. So
Yeah.
so I think that's a good thing. So I know me personally, I've seen my subscriber count jump a little bit, and I think it's because I posted my Rock video from Friday night. So for all you wrestling fans who probably jumped on the bandwagon on my channel here, what do you guys think of some of our little theories, our experiences, whatever it is? Please like, share, subscribe. You know all the lingo. Please go check out waste some time with Average Joe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that his channel's linked in the description. He's got a lot of fun content. He'll talk music, he talks boxing, he'll talk wrestling. What other kind of stuff do you talk about when you get on there? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, yeah, it's been pretty much music. I got
Yeah.
interviews. Just got Scott Stapp.
Oh wow.
I emailed him some questions and yeah, Creed 2024. Who knew? Yeah,
Yeah.
all those shows are sold out. It's the
Wow.
toughest ticket this summer. Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, I have some contrarian guys on, other guys have some interviews, some concert footage. I got a lot of traction from some of the concert footage. But yeah, you get like, 100,000 views and not everybody subscribes, but hey, what are you gonna do? But yeah,
Hey.
it's really odd what uh I have a Van Halen manager interview that I did in 2016 or 17, and that
Hmm.
got a ton of views somehow. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Fun
but
stuff.
yeah, it's just fun to do. But it's great talking to you, great being on the channel.
Always.
Glad to
Yeah,
be
man.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First time I think on my channel that I think about. I got on yours a
exactly.
time or two, so we thought we'd
Yeah.
return the favor. So go check his channel out. Go check out his content. We'll see you. You'll see us on the. I think we're gonna. You will might see him on the Year of the Priest series. I'll have to talk to you a little bit about that afterwards.
I'm in.
So
I think yeah, I'm in. I'm in for sure.
so
Yeah.
we'll see you in the Year of the Priest.
Yes.
We'll see y'all soon. As we say at the end of the Year of the Priest, rock forever. Smell what the rock is cooking. We'll see you soon.
All right.